Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm okay. Thanks. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Akila and I'm a yoga teacher. And this mini-series is part of an 8-week series leading up to the new year to create some journaling habits. So if you're interested in getting into journaling, going into the new year and creating some of those habits for yourself, you are in the right place. So if you missed either of the 2 previous videos in this series, I will pop little links up here for you so you can check those videos out first and then come back to this one. So today, before I get into the journaling prompts, if you've watched the 2 previous videos in this series, it'll make a little bit more sense how I structure my journal and what your prompt setup will look like. But before I get into that today, I wanted to talk a little bit about consistency and discipline. So this is something I've been thinking a lot about recently and trying to figure out how do we build discipline and how can we be more consistent with our goals, with our movement practices, anything in your life that you'd like to create a habit out of. How do you go about building those habits? And I think the thing that I've come to learn is that you always have to start small. And especially if you're going into the new year with goals, I feel like often a lot of times these New Year's resets that people aim for, they're really well intentioned, but on the other hand, it kind of brings up this all or nothing mentality that can be really unsustainable. So if you're going into the new year and you're wanting to build habits and you're saying, okay, I'm going to exercise every day, I'm going to meditate every morning, I'm going to journal every day, it might be unsustainable if you've gone from not doing any of those things previously. So really building smaller goals for yourself and then building up from there and really trying to dedicate small amounts of time each day to doing the things that you want to start making into a habit, rather than trying to do everything all at once and just getting overwhelmed and quitting early. So maybe if you're starting with these journaling prompts, rather than doing a journal prompt every single day, maybe you don't journal every day. Maybe you journal once or twice a week. And as you start to enjoy it and start to create the habit of it, you'll start to do it more and more often. And that way you'll notice a much more sustainable result going into 2024. Because the more that you start to get consistent with things, the easier it becomes to maintain them and stick with it. So now that we've spoken a little bit about that, let's get into the journaling prompts for this week. So the previous weeks, we kind of talked a lot about your past self, where you're presently at, and now we're going to get into visualizing for future self. So we're going to kind of look ahead a little bit more with these prompts. So prompt number 1 is, what ways can you improve your physical health this year? So maybe it's that you'd like to try and start eating healthier. Maybe there's some new movement practices that you'd like to start introducing. Maybe you just want to get outside more and be in nature more and move more in general. So prompt number 2, along the same lines, but moving into the mental health. What ways can you improve your mental, emotional health this year? So again, this is one of the reasons why I fell in love with the yoga practice to begin with, is that not only is it a physical outlet, it is also a way that I could be mindful and be at peace with myself and to remove external stimulus from my day, get an hour away from social media where I'm on my mat, get an hour away from just the noise of constant advertisements coming at you all hours of the day. Especially now, even more so than when I was a teenager, I feel like it's very overwhelming and very stimulating all the time. Even just recently with Black Friday, it was so bizarre. It's almost dystopian how Black Friday, the day after American Thanksgiving, where we're told to be grateful for everything that we already have, and then bam, the next day it's, here's all the things that you don't already have that you need, and it's just a constant berating. of just buy this, get that, you need this, you don't have that. So really just having that peace with yourself. So take a look at maybe doing a social media cleanse. Maybe it's incorporating a meditation practice. Maybe it's seeing a therapist. But how can you build a powerful mind? Because these days, when everything is an advertisement, it is so much more important to be able to have a powerful mind. By that, I don't even necessarily mean you have to be the smartest person, but you do have to have a very strong sense of who you are, your position in this reality. All right, prompt number 3, list some small habits you would like to implement this year. So this could be things like journaling once a week. This could be things like incorporating a meditation into your week. This could be listening to a podcast on the train instead of scrolling through TikTok. Just something little, nothing too crazy, something that you can really stick to. Next one is list some big habits you'd like to implement this year. So this might be something like going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week, going to a yoga class on a regular basis. These are going to be things that may be a little bit more difficult to maintain the habit, but well worth the effort that you put in. All right, so the next prompt I have is, what is something you want to learn to do this year and why? So this one I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day about how when we're children, we have this excitement. Whenever we learn something new or we, get a new trick or something, the first thing we do is run to our parents and get excited to show them, or just go to someone to just be so proud of what we've done. And the more you get to be an adult and the more skills you learn and the more really advanced that you get, the less frequently we have those moments. And I think we forget how it feels to have the joy of learning something new, or the joy of being a beginner at something and the process of mastering that thing. I had an experience recently in a class. I had never pressed to a handstand before in my life. And I've been working towards it and I've been struggling with it. And the other day it happened for me in a class. I had the teacher stand behind me and I said, "Can you pull on my hips to help bring me up to press up for the handstand?" And as it turned out, he stood behind me and he was ready to help, and then he didn't need to. I just did it by myself. And it had been so long in my yoga practice since I had acquired a new skill. Because when you're a beginner and you're learning all these new things and you're so excited about it, it's really just such an empowering journey to be doing all these new things that you didn't think you could do. And then the more advanced you get into your practice, or even the more advanced you get into life, the more you know, the less opportunity there is to learn new things. Really tapping into that joy of having a new skill that you can celebrate. So that's what this prompt is kind of getting at, is trying to reawaken that childlike love of learning something new. Because when you're an adult, you just forget how much joy that can bring you. All right, next prompt I have is, what is a big goal you would like to achieve in 2024? So, or maybe this is a partial goal. Maybe this is something you'd like to start to work on in the coming year, but maybe it's a big enough goal that it's even, a 3 to 5 year goal. Maybe it's a 10-year goal, but you want to start to take the steps towards it. You can write about that. So you can really explore, what is your goal? How long do you think it's going to take you? What are the steps you can take to get there? And then the last prompt I have for this week, along the same vein, is, what is a small goal you'd like to achieve in 2024? So it's really up to you how small you want to make this goal. Again, you can write the steps that you would need to take to get to that goal, and really just kind of flesh out everything that you would need to put in place in order to meet that expectation of yourself. So those are all the prompts that I have for you for this week. I apologize on the lateness of getting this video out. I'm kind of feeling under the weather this week. The winter cold and darkness has been really hitting me, so I kind of came down with the flu this week. If you enjoyed this series, please do like and subscribe to the channel. There'll be more videos like this coming soon. And also, if you're interested in diving into your movement practice, starting yoga, I have classes. You can check out some links here. I will post them. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.